Hi everybody, and welcome to episode 105 of the This Old Knit podcast. I am your host, Nina, otherwise known as Ine on Ravelry, Instagram, and Pinterest, and you can find show notes for this episode and all previous episodes on the corresponding numbered thread of the This Old Knit Ravelry group. So thank you all for joining me. Hopefully you have been watching my Vlogmas. I did not do a podcast last week, which I would have been due for because I have been doing Vlogmas, and it is a lot to edit a video every single day and make sure that I come up with content because frankly I don't have a very interesting life and I work a lot right now, so a lot of my time is taken up with working. However, I am off work for the duration of this week and next week, still checking emails and periodically doing things, but trying as much as I can to do fun stuff that I enjoy. So yeah, right now I am having a cup of coffee in my Kansas City mug that was purchased for me by my friend Jen. And she brought me a bunch of stuff when she went to, I don't know if it was Kansas City, but she got me Kansas City, a Missouri one, and then a Kansas one. So I have those mugs from her. And I got one other one as well that she just picked up in an airport on that trip. But I may have to be careful when I set that mug down. I'm also eating a candy cane shortbread cookie that I made a crap ton of for the cookie exchange. Some ladies dropped out last minute, so we have extras of these. I've saved back a bag for putting on the Santa plate for Christmas Eve because the children want to leave out cookies for Santa, aka Mommy. I'm not going to complain about that. However, I didn't want to bake another set of cookies for said cookie plate. So, I have some FOs to share with you guys this week. I have some whips to share with you. And I will share the Ghost of Needles future, aka my plans for the next year. It's not going to be organized. Is it ever organized? That's not what you guys are here for. Let's start with FOs. FO number one. They're on my feet, so I'm going to take them off. And they look really horrible. But they're super warm. They're the Thrummed Slippers. So these are the Thrummed Slippers by the Cozy Knitter, Christina. So she's the Cozy Knitter on Ravelry and on Instagram. And she's the dyer behind Cozy Knitter Yarns. Usually like self-striping. I think she does do, I mean, she obviously dyes semi-solids because she has coordinating mini skeins that come with her self-striping, but she's absolutely known for her self-striping yarns. This pattern was very easy to follow. It turned out very nicely. I wear a size 7.5 shoe. So I did 10 of the thrumming before I separated for the bottom. And then actually on the first one knit it a little bit longer and realized it's gonna stretch as I wear it. So I ripped back one full repeat of the pattern. But I knit this one first with the newer measurements to see if I liked it. And I did, so then I went back and ripped back the other one. I talk like it's this one. They are interchangeable, so who knows which one was the one that was knit and ripped and which one was the one that was just straight up knit that shape. They form to your feet. They have thrums inside. I used some sort of BFL Massim combination that I had in my fiber stash. And I would say they took maybe 2.5 ounces of fiber because I have roughly half of that, maybe a little bit less than half of that fiber bump left. So this is just in, you know, it's combed top, so it was in like a ball. A fiber ball. So that is FO number one. Now I have cookie in my teeth. Sorry. FO number two. For those who have watched Vlogmas, you've already seen this, but for those who have not, I sewed a dress for Megwin for her winter choir concert and just for general being a fancy schmancy princess around the house. So she also wore this for her birthday. I sewed the Adele dress by Violet Field Threads. It's out of some velvet jersey fabric, so it's very heavy. It has a high-low hem, so the front is shorter than the back, a scoop neck. It is fully lined. Yeah. And it has ruffles like nobody's business. So it has 4 tiers of ruffles. You can see those. So I called it Operation Ruffle Butt to complete this dress. I completed it pretty much all in one weekend. If I had had kind of uninterrupted sewing time, I definitely could have finished it in a day. It was pretty straightforward. I did draft the pattern because I wanted to be able to make the next size up as well, so I made the size 7-8. Megwin is 9 now. She wears pretty much 7-8 clothing from the stores, and it suggested using the same measurement as you use for commercially purchased clothing, and I would say that that is accurate. This fits her really well. It doesn't really have any ease to it, so it doesn't stretch to fit her, but it also is not like baggy or hanging at all. So I was almost going to go down a size, and I'm really glad that I did not. I made it thinking that she would be able to wear it for another year. I don't know that that's the case, but it might be because Megwin is a slow grower, and she also doesn't mind wearing things over pants. So I think she will be able to wear this probably through next fall, just because she doesn't grow that fast. But I am so proud of how it turned out. I think it's beautiful. It's everything that I thought that it would be. And I ordered some little rose hair clips for her from Amazon. It was like a set of 3 that had a bobby pin, a hair comb, and then I've got a hair in front of my glasses. A ponytail holder with like a little clippy that you put at the top of the ponytail. So I think we used 2 of them. We used the ponytail holder with the clip, and I did like little braids. And then we also used just the hair comb to put roses right here. So super cute, very easy pattern. I definitely will be making it again. I don't know why there's fuzz stuck into the seam, but there is, because Megwin. So I purchased this fabric from Joann's. I'm really glad that I went with getting an extra yard. My original thought was if I screwed up cutting something that I would need that safety yardage, but I needed it because I fully lined the freaking bodice. And I did not realize that that was gonna be a thing. So it's fully lined on the front. The back is not, because you sew, like the ruffles actually form a part of the skirt. So, but yeah, the front is completely fully lined. So you have to cut 2 dress fronts. And turning it inside out felt like it was turning my brain inside out trying to figure out those instructions. But I did it. And I love this little detail of like these gathered sleeves. They're like teeny tiny puff sleeves. Mini Anne. Yeah. So I really love it. The Adele dress, I highly recommend it for anyone who has a little girl who wants to feel fancy. And that is it for my FOs? No, it's not. The other thing that I completed is what I've been affectionately calling the Love Cowl. It is a sock head hat made into a cowl. There is a sock head cowl pattern, but I believe it makes it a little bit larger. However, since this was for a child, aka Megwin, I kept the same stitch count as for the sock head hat, which is I think 144 stitches, and I just knit a smaller ribbing. I did 17 or 18 rows of 2x2 ribbing, then I knit straight, and then I did the same amount of ribbing on the top, and I gave that to her for her birthday. So I will insert a completed picture here. So you can see it. The yarn I used is Chili Knits. My mom gave me that yarn, so I do not know the colorway, but it's like a fluorescent pink, but like, you know, where it's like fluorescent pastel, it's that kind of pink with little rainbow speckles all over it. It's really pretty, very Megwin, and I am very happy with how it turned out. It fits her really well, and she's worn it for 2 days straight. Cookie break. Talk amongst yourselves. All right. Now, on to whips. On my needles are Thrum Slippers number 2. These are also knit out of some Briar Rose fibers. I forgot to mention mine are knit out of some sort of Briar Rose fibers. My mom gave me several balls that she had purchased to make things for my husband, and I made him a pair of mittens with one of the balls. I made him a hat with another of the balls, and then I have 2 more that have just been sitting in my stash. So I thought they'd be perfect to make into slippers because it calls for Aran weight or worsted weight, and I don't have a ton of Aran or worsted weight in this stash. And the stuff I do have is like superwash, and it's Madeline Tosh, which I don't think would stand up to the rugged wear that you need out of something being a slipper. So these are just traditional wool, and this time I'm using some Shetland. It's like a lamb, so it's a first clip Shetland, and it's a gray instead of a brown. The other one was brown. So it definitely has a little bit different of a feel, but I thought the gray looked really nice with the green. And again, using up from my fiber stash. So these are all fiber bumps that I purchased to learn how to spin from Wool Gathering, the first Wool Gathering that I went to. So they were each like $8 or something like that. And they're anywhere between 4 and 8 ounces. So I wanted to get several different types of fiber to learn to spin with. So they've all been dipped into a little bit, but at this point I do know how to spin. Drop spindling, not wheel spinning. I took a class on wheel spinning, so technically I know how, but I feel like I'd be learning all over again. So anyway, I figured I'd use up the rest of these partial bumps that wouldn't really make enough yarn to do anything with. And make some fun slippers. So here's the yarn itself. It's a lot of different nice foresty greens and some olives. And there is kind of a brown there, but it still has a green tone to it. So that's whip number 1, and it's really hard to not zip the thrums into the bag, so I'm not going to zip it all the way. Whip number 2 is a set of mittens for my sister for Christmas. Probably not. That's okay. So I am using some yarn from Blacker Yarns. This is Blacker Yarns Classic DK in the light blue color. And this one is Blacker Yarns West Country Tweed in the olive colorway. So it's got really nice tweedy neps of blue, yellow, cream. Yep. I have another like half of a ball of blue because I did the inverse of this for some mittens I knit for Kristen last year for her birthday. I knit the Cavello mittens from the first Selbu Mitten Club, and so I had enough that I could reverse the colors and make another set. So I am on the top decreases of the mitten. This is the Maudit mitten pattern by Ellie, who is Skandier on Ravelry and Instagram. And this is from her second Selbu Mitten Club. And I'm also knitting them for the year-long Mid-Along and obviously the Stasher Shelf Challenge because I had the stash previously. Yeah, and for the Advent Along, which right now, the person who has a finished object, no, there's 3 people. There's only 3 people that have finished objects in my thread. So if you've made something for Christmas, for a Christmas present, which Autumn, I know you have. You've made hats upon hats. And there are some other people too that I know have made some Christmas gifts. So double dip, guys. Put them over in that thread too. Stash Yourself Challenge people that have entered, put them over in the Advent-along. And it's a make-along. So if you have sewn something for Christmas, if you've baked something for Christmas, whatever, put it in my FO thread. Anna from the Anna Knitter Podcast has the chatter thread. I have the FO thread. We will both draw for prizes. I will probably make some kind of bag. And all of my prizes today are out. So I think the last person should have received her package on Monday for the last Stash Your Shelf Challenge drawing. And I apologize profusely for the delay on that, but it's been crazy in my house. Just so much working. I can't even. So much working. So going to the post office has just not been possible. Anyway. Oh, another FO, sort of, is not here because my husband is wearing it. So I completed the repair on both of his socks where I cut off the leg and I cut off the foot. And he reports that they feel like it just feels like a sock. He thought that he would feel the places where I surgeryed it, but he's not, so good. And speaking of that, these are the next pair that I need to do some surgery on. So I will probably film that as my content for today for Vlogmas. So these are some socks I completed for him out of Full and Vine Yarns Footsie in the Captain Swan colorway. It was one of her Once Upon a Time Yarn Club colors. It's faded a bit, but that's just because my husband has washed them like 11 billion times because he only has like 4 pairs of socks and he wears hand knit socks every day. So he does a lot of sock washing. I have repaired them once, and that is because I used Madeline Tosh sock on the heels and toes, and that was a mistake. I should not have done that. That is not durable enough for my husband. So I picked up and replaced the heel turn with some Patons Kroy stretch sock, but he's worn holes up here now in the heel flap. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did with his Patons Kroy socks, and I'm just going to cut off the leg and cut off the foot, and I'm going to pick up the stitches and knit a new heel flap and gusset with some Patons Kroy. Because unfortunately, I don't have any more of this footsie. I've used it in sock yarn swaps, so I don't have the same color that I could just throw in there. Because I think footsie would hold up to a Josh, and that's saying something. Same place on the other sock. Like, Tosh sock is just not meant for husband socks. It's not. At least not my husband. The toe seems to be holding up okay. So for now, I'm going to leave the toe alone. Seems alright. Toes are much easier to replace too, because you just unravel the very end and then you can just frog back. But yeah, unfortunately, those heels, man, they take a beating. My husband is also a heel walker. So he walks like heel strike first and then toes, not toes to heel, which is the way I walk. So those are just in a project bag, ready for me to do some sock surgery in a little bit. And then this was a new cast on yesterday. So my husband requested a sock head hat after trying mine and liking it with doubling the brim. So he likes the way I knit it so that there's a lot of ribbing so you can fold the brim in half. So I am knitting him a sock head hat out of a crazy orange. Yes, it is that bright. So this is the Pumpkin Pasties colorway by Bad Wolf Girl Studios, who is Meg, and she has the Bad Wolf Girl Sits and Knits podcast. So it's a Harry Potter inspired colorway, obviously. I got it for my So Faded sweater, the one that I had with like all of the creams and grays. I thought that I could go from, what is that? It's not the Three Broomsticks. It's like Hogsmeade or something colorway. The last one that I did. Cauldron. The Leaky Cauldron. Okay, so I had the Leaky Cauldron, which has got a little bit of oranges in it. And so I thought, okay, then I can fade into orange. No, not after all of those neutrals. This would have been insane. So once I got it, I was like, Meg, I don't think that's going to work. And she was like, yeah. So she dyed me up another skein of Gringotts, which is another neutrally color. So it was the second one in my So Faded sweater. And that worked really nicely. That is one of my favorite sweaters. So anyway, I kept this one back thinking I would make something out of it at some point. So I cast on for a hat. It looks tiny, but it's not. It's just on 16-inch circs. So I'm just on the ribbing, and it's going to take forever, but it's a nice, you know, alternative to socks. Just working on a sock head. And he will use this hat for running because it's a little bit thinner. The two hats that he has are worsted weight and bulky weight, so he doesn't have anything that's a little bit thinner, which when he's running, you know, you're sweating, and you don't want something that thick on your head, and you also want it to be low profile. So, and potentially something bright so people can see you when you're running in the evening. So he can have this, plus maybe put something reflective on it afterward. So that's another thing I am working on. And then the last thing that I'm working on knitting wise is the Northeasterly blanket. So after consulting with Skinanigans, I realized I was doing the pickups in the middle incorrectly. So I had started it and I was picking up the bar from the slip stitch in the middle, and then that seemed wrong because I wasn't getting the little points. So I went back and then I was picking up underneath of that, and it was making this really tight. So it was biasing and it was super tight. So I said to her, is that normal? And she's like, no, that center spine should not be that tight. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna just cast on with another color, try it and see what I think. And then if it's still doing the same thing, oh well, I'll just try to block it out and I'll join it to the one I've done. However, it is working way better, so I'm going to rip out the little piece I had done, and this will be my start to it. The idea is that I will do this one in color stripes, so I'm going to keep the same basic underlying color for each one, and then I'll do a rainbow. So I'll have a reds, oranges, yellows, greens, blues, etc. And then I had started a pinks one. So I'm just going to keep things in the same color family, essentially, for each stripe. So this one actually has an undertone of blue, and then all of these other colors on top of it. So you can see every other row is that blue color like this. So that's why it's there, but it's turning out like super bright. I think it's a little bit easier even to see on this side how much blue is in it. So yeah, so that's why that one's there. But before that, I had had really semi-solid blues, because this one is one from Autumn, and then this one's just a little teeny tiny nugget that I got from someone, I don't remember who, but I made a Hexie Puff with it, so I just had a teeny bit left. And that is one of the things that attracted me to the Northeasterly blanket, is that I could use my leftovers from Hexie Puffs to put into here, because I usually have enough where I could almost make a Hexie, but not quite, and I feel bad like not using those. And then here's my little charm that Shannon gifted me from the Yarn at Home Mom. She's the dyer behind the Yarn at Home Mom yarns. She put it in my order package, and this is from Little Bitty Delights. So it's just a little plate of sugar cookies. I thought it was festive. here's my yarn. So you can definitely see the blues a lot better in the yarn itself. And then I think I'm gonna transition into this one. And then this one, which is from my swap with Anna Knitter. And then I'm going back and forth on whether I'm gonna do that one or this one, because I feel like this has a lot of greens. So I may put this with the greens stripe and go to this. This is Baronvola Pond colorway. And again, she doesn't dye things anymore, so I got this one from Furchenbadagach. And then what? And I have this kind of pale bluey one. And then I don't have it in here, but I was gonna do another Harry Potter one there. That's the Bertie Bott's Every Flavored Beans that I showed you guys the Hexie Puff of last time I did my podcast. So I would do whatever I've left after the Hexie Puff into my blanket. And my thought is that I'm gonna make this strip as wide as our king size bed. And then that'll give me an indication of, you know, how wide it'll need to be, and I can join onto it. The joining method seems very similar to the 10-stitch blankets. So some people said that they had trouble with the joining method, but it looked really easy to me, because it's like you pick up into the stitch and pass the stitch over, or at least that's the way I'm gonna do it, because this is essentially like an edge like the 10-stitch blanket has. So I think that'll be a perfect joining method. And then you end up with either a nice little spine, or you can have that spine on the bottom and you have a pretty seamless join. So that is that, and I'm really enjoying it. So again, the Northeasterly blanket by Skinanigans, and I think the pattern is $3 now. She had it free for a little while. She is a fellow Ohioan, so we had chatted before, and so I'm really happy to see that she has had so much success with this pattern. There's a lot of people knitting it right now. And it will be one of my projects for the Harry Potter blanket along. So then getting to acquisitions slash the Ghost of Needles future. Cookie break. So first off, for my Christmas Eve cast on, I'm going to do the Noel pullover with these. The body will be this color. The contrast will be this color. It is a colorwork yoke and colorwork sleeves and body, but not the main part of the body. So most of the body is just plain stockinette. This is Cormo that I picked up at Rhinebeck from the Foxhill Farm booth. So this is a nice chocolatey brown. This is a Cormo cross, and this one is just pure Cormo. So Noel pullover for my Christmas Eve cast on. Oh my god, that's so squishy. I love it. And then, as I mentioned, Shannon from the Yarn at Home Mom is no longer dyeing yarn. So she had one final sale on Instagram, which I camped, and yeah, I bought a lot of yarn. I sort of pre-bought my Christmas gifts, which I now have. My husband's grandparents usually send us money for Christmas because they don't know what to buy us, so they just send money. So I knew I would get some money, so I was like, okay, well, I'll use some of that, and then my birthday is coming up in January, so just gonna front load it. Okay, my husband called. He's gonna pick up some more fabric for the pajamas for Joshua for Christmas. So anyway, I purchased a sweaters quantity of A World of Octobers. It's an Anne of Green Gables inspired colorway. It's so beautiful. It just glows. It's amazing. So this is on her Hardy sock base, which is an 80/20 superwash merino nylon. I got 2 skeins of Vicious Trollop, which is a Gilmore Girls inspired colorway. I used the singles of this same colorway for a shawl that I did. I believe it was the Spotlight shawl. But it's on shimmer sock, so it is glittery, and my plan is for this to be the body of a Colorwork sweater with probably a white contrast, or maybe a like a super light pink contrast. We'll see how I want to do it. And then next, these are not marked, but they are on the shimmer sock base. This is the colorway Kinky Boots, and it is red. And if you've never seen the Kinky Boots movie, you need to see it because it is awesome. It is one of my favorite movies of all time. So I'm thinking a Poet pullover for this out of the last Lane magazine. It's like a lace 3/4 sleeve pullover, so lace on the front. I don't know if the lace goes on the back or if the back is solid, but I think that would be a stunning Christmas sweater. Not for this Christmas, obviously, because I won't finish it, but for next Christmas, and just more generally for wearing, because I love wearing red. Red is Megwin's favorite color too, so I had to tell her, this is for mommy, not for you. And then I got 4 skeins, and I don't know where the other skein is, but it's somewhere. 4 skeins of the Anne of Green Gables colorway. And this is just an amazing, cool, very different. I've never seen these colors together from any other dyer, and it is just beautiful. And I actually have my socks on out of it in the shimmer base. I was hoping for the shimmer base, but that isn't what she had. She only had the basic base, but I'm really happy to have a sweater's quantity of it. So like I said, I have 4 skeins of this, and I'm thinking right now an unfinished business sweater, which is a pattern by Melissa Seshwari. And it's just a top-down raglan pullover with unfinished edges. And then last but not least, I got 2 skeins of the charcoal colorway, also on shimmer. This I'm going to pair with my yarns from the Lost Reindeer Club by Volenvine, which is also on the Blitz space, to make a Breathing Space sweater by Vera Valimaki. So this will be my main color, and then the reindeer colors will be the contrasting striped colors on the body, but this will be like the yoke, and there's a portion of the arms. So that is everything that I purchased from Shannon. And then I have some Lost Reindeer Club yarn, but I did not bring it over here, so I will have to share it at another time, or you can check on my Vlogmas, because I believe I've shared all of the colors that I have received to date. There are 2 more that I will be getting in the mail, and I think they're coming soon, because I did get a shipping notification. And I also have mini skeins coming from Adelaide Cottage, because I purchased her last Harry Potter mini skein club installment to put into my blanket for the Harry Potter blanket along that she and Jilly are co-hosting. So I'm going to stop now because I have a battery that's almost dead. I need to edit my footage from yesterday, edit the Happy Holiday tag. So please keep on knitting. I have the Advent along going. I have the Stash Your Shelf challenge going, and I think those are my 2 knit alongs. So yeah, until I see you guys next time, have a great holiday, and thanks for watching. Bye.